There we go. Good morning, good morning. We have a break in the weather and beautiful sunshine coming in my room, which I've cleared the window from snow for the 100th time. Oh, so the stretch and the morning workout and Tuesday mornings is turning out to be just perfect for me. So of course, if it's perfect for me, it must be perfect for you too, right? Good coaching projections. Here we go. Let's go the other way. Good. Let's make some circles. So let's take our arms out, make our little circles. And then we'll flip our thumbs back. Yeah, I used to wonder why Mammoth was more popular with Southern Californians, and after a winter like this, I know why. We're totally cut off from Northern California. So, exciting times. Last one this way. Let's try alternating. So if you're punching out to the walls and you have your fist, roll one arm back and one arm forward, and then reverse. And see if you can feel your shoulder blades moving. Getting some nice rotation. It should feel like you're going in opposite directions. If you went any harder, it wouldn't feel so great. All right, now it feels pretty good. Get those shoulder blades moving, exactly. And then let's swing those arms. Let it all go. Couple more. Get all the tension out of there because we're gonna add more tension soon. Let's take the hips out side to side and check how things are feeling. And that was a good reminder. I'll come back and do neck before we get down on the floor. Let's do circles. Maybe we'll do something special with our necks while we're on the floor. And reverse direction. 2, 3. Hopefully everyone's hamstrings have recovered from last Tuesday. I'm pretty sure it was those frog pumps. Doing 120 seconds of frog pumps. Let's reverse direction. 3 sets of 40. That's a lot of hamstring work. So if you think that was it and you were really sore last week, see what it feels like this week and pace yourself. You don't need to be going your fastest speed, maximum, oh, we want maximum height, but pace yourself, right? We want happy, healthy, invincible hamstrings. We don't want to incapacitate you for the rest of the week, especially if you've got shoveling ahead of you. And lose the power when your hamstrings are too tired to work. 6. Good. And let's pay some attention to our ankles. Get those snap, crackle, pops out of them. Keep the ball of your foot pressed into the floor. And go both ways. And let's switch sides. Woo, big snap, crackles, and pops. I don't know if you could hear that. Kind of alarming, actually. No pain. And reverse. 6. Good. Let's take our legs out super wide, big straddle. Sink down to one side and to the other. See if you can sink down a little bit lower. One more set. Go right and left and come back to center. Let's do some shoulder drops. Hopefully everybody had a good night's sleep. Things are feeling pretty good. And bring your hands down, sink into that squat. Sink down and hold it. You can shift if that feels good. Just waking up that groin area. It's got a lot of work coming towards it. Oh. Let's do maybe 5 bottoms up. Let's go up for 1 and sink it down. Up for 2 and sink it down. 3, 4, and 5. Hands on knees. Let's roll it up. Get those hips a little bit extra warmth. For our first activation, we need our loop bands, the heavy band to go around your ankles, and the lighter band to have around your wrists. This week I'm still going to stick with blue. Yeah, because I know the workout that's ahead of us, and now you do too. Okay. Okay. So we're going to hop to one side of the room, or waddle to one side of the room. Those are the two ways to move when you've got band on your feet. We are counting down 10 steps out and back, 8 steps out and back, 6 out and back, all the way down to 1. So let's start. And back. And 8. 7, 8. I'm feeling it in my hips. Hopefully you are too. It's not your foot leading. You're pushing out with your whole leg, leading with the hip. Let's go for 6, 3, 4, 6, and 4, 2, 1, 4. Nice. 2, 1, and 2. And 1, and 1. Yeah, give yourself a hand. Oh boy. Let's switch to a lighter band. Shake those hips out. And we do just an upper body. Just that mini loop sequence. Okay, we'll make it up as we go. Let's roll our shoulders down. As we pull apart, you want to make sure we're waking up those back muscles, not just working through the arm. So shoulders back and down, engage those shoulder blades. They're not going to stay fixed, but they do need to move. They do need to engage with the back muscles. And that's where, let's pull apart, that's where the movement comes from. You might feel it at the front of your shoulder, you might feel it in your arms, but I also want you to see if you can feel it in your back. Let's take a break from this. We're going to keep this pulled apart and go for some bicep curls. Keep tension on the band. Two more. Holding your thumbs up at your shoulders, we're going to reach up, pull the band apart as we pull in. Shoulders stretch across your rib cage, come back into your spine. You want them moving. Nice. Hold it here, bring your elbows in. You're going to try to keep your elbows in. They'll move, but you always want to hug them back in if you can. We're going to reach up, pull down behind your neck, reach up, pull down in front. 2. We have 8 of these. So this is 3, pulling down behind and pulling down in front. Keep squeezing those elbows in. Clearly, they're not going to come all the way in, but it's the intention. You're going to feel it. 6, 7. I know, burns your shoulders. Last one, because I've lost count. We'll just call it here. Let's bring our arms down, roll those shoulders, take a little break. One more thing to do while we're here, little pulses. We're going to go up and down twice. Nice, gentle little pulses. Shouldn't feel quite as nasty as what we just did. I hope. Go, one more. All the way up and all the way down. Good. So if you've got a flat band, actually, let's save this. Make sure you have a flat band for what we're doing on the floor. And I'm gonna flip my camera, grab a drink, set my clock so I don't lose track of time, because I forgot to do that. There we go. And we'll move into the body of our workout. So remember, everything we're doing today is on the floor. If you can't see me, because I'm still playing around with this alignment, unmute yourself and tell me that you're having trouble seeing me. So we have our frog pumps. We have our 1 1/4 chest press to a fly. We have a bridge to an overhead pull. We have our dead bugs, which we were doing one arm overhead pulls as we were doing it, keeping it light. Our banded clamshell, so keep your heavy band close by. Our hollow body holds, which we might just turn into banana rolls today, or start to turn them into banana rolls just to have some fun. And our breaststroke. So we're doing core from both sides, from all sides. It's 360 core today. Okay, so starting seated, this is butterfly pose, but somehow when you lay down, your legs are in this position, it's called frog pose. So we're gonna come into frog pumps, and we're gonna go for 40 seconds. We're gonna start in 10 seconds. So I can keep my eye on the clock. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep your feet squeezed together and lift up. It's not a big lift. Notice how your back feels. You shouldn't be slapping it down or arching it. I have my hands behind my head so I can support myself and keep an eye on the clock for you. So we don't do these 3 sets at once. We'll stop at 40 seconds. We have about 10 seconds left. You want to be sure you're not unconnecting your feet and bringing your knees up. That's actually really hard on your inner thighs. 2 and 1. You want to keep your legs out, knees out, feet pressed together, and lift. Bring your knees in to your chest. Our timing is going to be a little bit off. So let's get your weights set up. We're doing our 1 1/4 chest press to a fly. And we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Press it up and out, a little pulse at the bottom. Same thing with the press, little pulse at the bottom. Good. Little pulse, press it up, stretch it out. Again, you don't want your back all over the floor, especially when you're doing that fly. You have 10 seconds left. Up and up. 3, 2, and 1. Bring the weights down safely. And of course, where you can access them again. We have bridge to an overhead pull. Your choice of weight, medium weight is good. So we're going to post up to the ceiling, lift up, and reach. And come down. Up and reach. And come down. Bonus points if you can do that lift and reach at the same time. Three, 2, and 1. Bring that weight down. It feels like ice. My hands are freezing. We have dead bugs with a light weight in each hand. So I'm going to grab my 5s. 3s, I wouldn't go more than 5 for doing them this particular way. Let's get into our dead bug position and reach. The goal for this is to keep those abs braced and your low back pressed into the floor. The farther your limbs go from your core, the center of your body, the more your spine is going to want to arch up. You can do this with straight legs also. A little more challenging. And we stop in 3, 2, and 1. Put those weights down. My collection is growing. We're going to move into our side lying clamshells. Let's get cozy on the floor and let's go. 40 seconds here. It's such a simple move that gets destroyed in so many ways. You really want to think about not moving, not rocking back. You want to keep your hips still and stacked is what I was trying to say. And lift up. And when you do that, unless you have incredible external rotation, you can't lift your hip very far or your leg very far. And the band gives you some resistance, so it hits you right in the meat of that glute. And we switch sides in 3, 2, 1. But too often people think the goal is how far can I open up my knee? And in doing so, they rock back, and rocking back takes the challenge away. So we'll go in 3, 2, 1 on side 2. Hips don't move, knee lifts as far as you can against the band. Of course, the more resistance you give yourself, the smaller the movement. I don't care about how far you're moving, as long as you're feeling it in the right spot. Nice work. We have 10 seconds left. Why does this side feel longer? Sure, it's the same amount of time. 3, 2, and 1. We can take the band off, come onto our backs, and we'll do our hollow body hold. If that was a new move that's still feeling like you want to learn it, let's stay there for the first set. So we'll go in 5 seconds. We're just kind of hanging out on the floor and take a big breath in, and here we go. Exhale, press your back into the floor, lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Hold it as long as it's comfortable and settle down. Inhale, exhale up, hollow that belly, and then lower. The goal is not to hold your breath for 40 seconds and keep your position here. The goal is to control what your back is doing as you're coming into this position or not, or coming out of it, I should say. 10 seconds left. Everything is strong, engaged in this core. You're pulling everything in. 3, 2, 1, and rest. What we'll do with it next time is try to add a little roll to it, make your core work just a teeny bit harder, and then we'll work on that roll for the rest of the month. We're going to go into our breaststroke, lying down, arms forward, pressing your feet into the floor. Lift up, I, Y, T, W. I, Y, T, extra lift at that W. You can make it smooth. Go at your own pace. This is our last exercise, and then we get a little break before we do this 2 more times. Round we go. Lifting with that upper back. You shouldn't be feeling this in your low back. Press your feet into the floor a little bit harder. And rest. Let's fold back into child's pose. Let your back flex and rest. Take about a minute and a half here. So grab a drink, stretch what needs to be stretched. Let your body kind of absorb all the movement we just did. And get your weights where they're supposed to be so we don't have gaps. I caused the gaps, it's my fault. In our timing. And we'll go from here. Oh, the neck thing, right. Thank you for reminding me that we were going to do a neck stretch. So as you're doing this, let's push into your hand as your hand is pulling down. This arm is going to push down to the floor. Keep that tension there. And on the way down, your hand wins, pushing your ear down towards your shoulder. But then you're also pushing to bring it back up. You're not just letting go. So you have the tension going in both directions. So your head wins on the way up, your hand wins on the way down. So equal opposite, more or less equal opposite. Push into your hand as your hand is pulling your head down. Don't ever just pull on your neck. That wouldn't be a good idea. And then push up into your hand as you're lifting up. Good. Roll your shoulders, look right and left. Come back to center, take your hands behind your head. And push into your hands, push back into your hands as your hands win the battle, and bring your nose down towards the floor. So we're stretching through that cervical spine, creating length. We're not just mashing it. And then let's pull up. This time your head wins and your hands lose. Let's do that one more time. Create length in your neck. Head and hands are fighting each other. Hands win on the way down. Nice length through your cervical spine. And then on the way up, your head wins. See how far you can look up with that. Nice. And then roll your shoulders out, turn your head, see how you feel. Hopefully it's a little bit looser. And we should get going with round 2. Let me grab a drink and we'll meet you on the floor. Okay. So frog pump position. Down we go. Let's start in 3, 2, 1, and lift. Round 2. There's nothing fancy about this move. All the studies they do of what movements activate the glutes the most effectively. 2 moves come out. This is one of them, which you don't see people doing in gyms for obvious reasons. But this and the hip thrust are the 2 moves that effectively isolate what the glutes are doing, making them work their hardest. When we stop in 3, 2, 1, bring your knees in, roll your back out. Let's find your weights. Carefully bring them into place. We go in 10 seconds. You can add weight to it, but really, if you can activate the glutes just by feeling it, it's a very effective exercise. So 1 1/4 pulse up and out at that quarter pulse. Down, add a pulse, and out. Don't forget that pulse. 2. Again, the limiting factor on this move is what you can do for a fly, not the press. And so make sure you're not hurting your shoulder, trying to go out a little bit wider. My rule of thumb is always on the fly, you can keep the weights in your peripheral vision. Up, last one, out. Finish your wrap and bring the weights down safely. Gonna go a little heavier for the overhead pull. So line your feet up with your hips. We go in 3, 2, 1. Lift and reach. Pull with your back. So your glutes are lifting. Your back muscles are connected to your glutes. But when I say pull with your back, that's what's bringing the weight back over your chest. We're working those upper back muscles. The lats are doing the pulling. Glutes are doing the lifting. Powerful combo. Just be sure it's not your low back that's getting in on the action. And let's rest. That was the last one. Okay. Dead bugs with a light weight in your hands. I better move this out of the way. We'll go in 3, 2, 1. Back stays glued to the floor. Reach as far as you can. Bent knee or straight knee. Bent knee or straight leg. Doesn't matter. You're doing you. You're going to keep your abs braced and your back glued to the floor. Nice. Three, 2, and 1. Weights down. Come up and grab a band. Clamshell time. So week 2, we're grouping the pattern. We learned it last week. Let's hit it. And I'll keep talking. We learned the patterns last week in the routine. We're grooving it this week. Next week with this, I wouldn't do it today. See what you feel like tomorrow, now that you know what the workout is all about. Next week, we can add a side plank to this. But no point in adding it this week. Let's make sure we can get through this without incapacitating ourselves tomorrow. 3, 2, and 1. Up and over. Okay, nice. You just roll over and you can wait. Let your hips relax. Enjoy this little pause. We go in 3, 2, and 1. So one of the observations that I've heard that I agree with is when you go for 40 seconds, you can do many more repetitions than if we just focus on a rep scheme, doing 10 to 12 or 12 to 15. You really start to see what the differences are, what differences feel like right side to left side. And we finish in 3, 2, 1. And this is one of those moves where I could do clamshells on both sides and not notice it. But when you put it into 40-second blocks, holy moly. Take the band off to the side. We are doing hollow body holds. And I'll show you how to add the banana roll. So this is your basic hollow body hold. Keep your back glued into the floor. For more challenge, you can take your hands above your head. And even more challenge from here, you can try to use your core to roll over. So we're curled like a banana, or curved like a banana, I should say. And you're working with your breath, keeping your back in a nice strong position. You can also just keep doing them like this. One more. Good. And if you're aiming to do pull-ups, chin-ups. Mastering the hollow body hold and being able to get your legs up using your core is one of the key components of it. Okay, dry line breaststroke. Ooh, I'm facing the other way. Let's go. Lifting up, coming around, squeezing, pushing through. Keeping those glutes squeezed, keeping your feet pressed into the floor. It can be your toes, it could be the tops of your feet. About 10 seconds left, and a nice little break to follow. Last one. And rock back into child's pose and let your back rest. Let your abs relax. Let your back muscles stretch. Let all the tension go. Move side to side. Nice work. We are 2/3 done with the main part of our workout. On the floor doesn't feel so bad, does it? It's always the next day. These are sneaky workouts. We're going to take one more minute. Let your body stretch. Maybe it's a forward fold. Maybe it's cat-cow so you can stretch out your hamstrings before we do our next round of frog squats. I'm going to rearrange my space. So I'm not getting myself in trouble again. Twist and twist. We'll start in 20 seconds. Last 8 minutes, the main body of the work. Let's come down on the floor. Check in with your back that it's feeling good. Bring your soles of your feet together. Lie it back. And up and down we go for our frog pumps. So if you're keeping your butt squeezed, I would never recommend clenching your butt as a way of getting through life. Just for today, while we're doing this, notice where your tension is in your back, in your legs. If you can release anywhere, if you can use your glutes and let your back relax. Might mean you don't lift as high. That's okay. It's getting control over those core muscles in your body, knowing what they feel like, knowing what they can do for you. 3, 2, 1. Hug those knees in. 10 seconds. Make sure you've got your bigger weights. We're doing our 1 1/4. We go in 3, 2, and 1. Little pulse all the way up, all the way out. A little pulse at the end. Back is nice and flat on the floor. It's what they say, core stability, which is what we're working on, for distal mobility, meaning how far can you move your arms and legs without, well, just how far can you move your arms and legs? Keeping your core stable, keeping your spine stable. It's the function of the core, right? We want to keep the spine stable. And rest. Okay, I'm going to keep one of those weights going into our bridges with the overhead pull. And 3, 2, 1. Lifting up and reaching overhead. If you haven't been synchronizing these movements, give it a try. It may change how far you can reach. It may change how much you can lift, but it's an integrated movement. So give it a go. Notice I'm not even hitting the floor because when I go back any farther with the 15 pounds, my back wants to arch, even when it's lifted. And I don't want my low back doing the work. I want this all coming from my shoulders and my upper back. And rest. Good. We're gonna grab, oh, we have our dead bugs. What am I doing? One more move, and then we do our clamshells. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. If you haven't tried straight leg, try straight leg. Same principle applies. When you can't keep your back controlled on the floor in a nice stable position, you stop moving your limbs. So you may not go all the way down to the floor, and that's perfect. That's not the goal. The goal is not to go down to the floor. The goal is to challenge your core to keep your spine stable, wherever that is, whatever that means for you. 3, 2, and 1. Bring those weights down, rolling it up, grabbing your band. You have 10 seconds. Get comfy on the floor. No side planks today. Next week we'll try them. Okay, and let's hit it. Last bit of isolated work for the glutes. The abs, however, this is the only break they get. You have to stabilize with your abs a little bit to keep your hips straight and stacked. But really, you can probably totally relax your torso and focus on what your glutes are doing. So you can give your abs a break. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. I don't know that you're really giving your abs a break, because I think they're always working to keep that spine stable. We have 10 seconds to chill. We're just not focusing our attention on them, like the eye of Sauron. Not keeping your eye glued on one body part. The eye is looking away from the abs, but they still have to work. Good. Feeling that second side. We're halfway through. And always my side 2 is non-dominant. I always feel it more on my non-dominant side. This side is crying. We have 5 seconds left. 3, 2, and 1. Let's take that band off. Hollow body holds next. You don't have to go very far. Just roll onto your back. We have 10 seconds. You can get set up into position. Okay. Regular hollow body hold, extended hollow body hold, or add that roll. You want to keep your back on the floor. If you're getting tired, slow it down, do fewer, take a break this set. This is a hard move, especially if you're trying to add on. Big exhale, press that back into the floor and hold. You can use your arms to support your head. You have 10 seconds. And rest. Okay, one leg up, roll it over. You're gonna slide back into position. 10 seconds, our last round of breaststroke. I know if we were swimming somewhere, I wouldn't be getting very far. Here we go. Feet into the floor, glutes squeezed, lift and pull. Use your breath. Inhale up, exhale lower. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, finish your stroke, and come into child's pose. Nice work. We finished 3 sets of that giant set, 3 rounds of it. Woohoo! Let your back rest. Think about how things felt from the first set to the last set. These aren't incredibly difficult moves, but building endurance over 3 sets, I could feel my back wanting to pull up. My abs were starting to not want to work so hard. I really had to focus on things a little bit more by the 3rd set than I had to at the first set. So things that we can notice as we go through this month is not only how we're recovering from these moves and what it feels like the next day, but how long we're able to keep that spine in a stable position without having to think about it. Because as we go through real world, we go through life, you don't want to have to stop and think, oh, brace, stabilize, pose. Well, maybe if you're lifting something really heavy, you do. But generally, as we go through life, we want all this stability to happen without us having to think about it. And so the longer we can do things, the more we can do in our exercises together, the more automatic it's going to become for your brain to communicate with those muscles as you go through everyday life. So just my goal is to not notice my back moving at all by the 3rd set as we get to the end of the month. So just in case you thought you were alone with your back wanting to pop up, you're not. Let's have a little break. We have our finisher coming up. I'm gonna move my weights out of the way. Hands out of the way. Inch a little bit closer. So our finisher is our single leg squat. We go for 20 seconds on, 10-second rest, switch legs, 20 seconds, second leg, 10 seconds rest. And then we go into our airplane balances, 20 seconds on one side, rest, 20 seconds on the other, and then rest. And if we can get through it twice with both of them, I'd say we're doing great. And remember, this is where you get to laugh. You can laugh at me, you can laugh at yourself. You can't get mad at yourself if your balance is off at the end of the workout, right? So you're not allowed to talk badly to yourself. You're not allowed to say, oh, how terrible. Because we're all in this together, and it's really not hard doing this. It's really not easy, I should say, doing this at the end of the workout. It's only 20 seconds. We're going to go in 15. Let's set up. You can have 1 foot out, 1 foot on top of the other, or 1 leg up here. And I'm actually going to start non-dominant. Make my left side screen first. 3, 2, 1. Stand it up and come down. 2. As swimming arms, you need swimming arms. Go for it. There's only 5 more seconds. If you get 1 successful, that's the win. And rest. 10 seconds off. Get ready to switch sides. 20 seconds never seemed so long, did it? 3, 2, 1. If you're coming up, all the way up, nice and controlled on the way down. Swimming arms, or see if you can do it with your arms across your chest. 5 seconds left. Whoops. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Yep, swimming arms help. That's how we tread water, right? Let's come up onto your non-dominant leg, airplane balance time. So we can hold it in this position, or we can try shifting that hip. Doesn't have to be a big wing tip or wing shift. And rest. We'll get ready for side 2. Three, 2, 1. So by all means, hold the balance. If you can, play around with opening your hip and closing your hip. Opening your hip, closing your hip. The more we do the single leg work, the more challenging it gets. In this workout, and rest. We'll take 30 seconds here, and then we'll get going again. One more time through our single leg work. It gets funnier as we go. So you gotta keep laughing, right? You know, and all this work and all the wobbles is your brain learning how to communicate with the muscles. We're gonna go in 5 seconds. I always start dominant. Let's start non-dominant. 3, 2, 1. Oh, whoa, side 2. Round 2, much more challenging. And come down. Come on up. Very good. And down. And down. The swimming arms really make a difference. If only it helped me swimming, that would be wonderful. There we go. And come down and rest. Let's shift to side 2. 3, 2, 1. Up. A big difference with the dominant side. See, there's always something to work on. Yep, I'm watching you. You guys looking good. Come all the way up to standing. Don't literally half-ass it. Don't stop when you're off the bench and drop back down. All the way up, extended hip and down. And rest. Good. Let's go in, let's go in 10 seconds. That way my brain doesn't have to do it so hard. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Airplane balance. Hold it for 20 seconds or add that little hip shift. Opening up, closing. Doesn't have to be a big movement. You're just asking your leg to balance really hard. Whew. And rest. Last round. 5 seconds. Go to side 2. Stay with me. We're almost done. Into our balance. Squeezing those glutes, making them work. They're the ones that's what's stabilizing you. A braced core and strong glutes. 5 more seconds. If that hip shift is too much, just hold that balance and rest. Nice work. We're all done. So from here, let's take your right leg back, or you can mirror me. It would be your left leg if we're doing mirrors. Taking my right leg back and my right arm up and leaning over. You can lean back, you can rock forward, but we're getting, it's like a standing crescent stretch. And bring that down. Let's switch sides. Really nice for your IT band. You know, rock a little bit forward, rock a little bit back, see where you're getting stretch through your hip and your side. Take a couple of breaths here. Really let that breath expand through your side. And let's come out of it. Take our hips side to side. Do a couple of hula hoops. Just check in with how everything is feeling. Figure eights. And then 1 foot extended, heel down for hamstring stretch, or 1 foot elevated. Does the same thing. It's whatever you've got at hand. And we're going to reach. So your torso is facing over that stretched out leg. We're not doing a side bend like a ballerina. We're going right over that leg. And we're going to hold for about 20 more seconds. If it feels good to point your toe and flex your toe, you can add that in. 15 more seconds here. But let the back of your thigh stretch, relax. One more big inhale. Exhale, roll it up. We'll switch sides. So again, we're not going sideways over that leg. I want you forward. Inhale, exhale down over it. Reach for your toes or your shin. We're gonna have a good 30, 40-second stretch here. So if it feels good, you can add your toe taps. But what I want you to focus on most is getting the back of your thigh to relax. Every exhale, see if you can let go a little bit more. Maybe stretch a little bit more forward, reach a little bit lower on your leg. A few more seconds. Hang on to it. Good. And let's come out of it. Hip flexor stretch, quad stretch. Put your foot up on something or catch it in your hand if you can. The goal is to push your foot down into your hand or the table or the chair, whatever you're doing. Squeeze that hip and press it forward. And if it feels good and you're balanced, you can reach up. You obviously can't do that if you're holding onto your foot, right? So if you're like this, just keep pushing into your foot, pressing down into your hand and pulling back so that this part of your hip opens up. It's not a stretch if your knee is forward. You want to pull your knee back. We got 10, 15 more seconds. Your balance is a little challenged at this point. That's okay. Hold on to something. It's never a sin to hold on to something for help. And let's switch sides. One leg should be feeling pretty loosey-goosey. Let's get the other side feeling the same way. So again, pressing down into a chair, squeezing that butt and pressing forward and reaching up, or pressing your foot down into your hand. You could, if it doesn't feel like much of a stretch, step a little bit more forward. And so your knee is a little bit more behind you. And we got another 10, 15 seconds here. Really squeeze those cheeks. Press forward, make sure you're getting that stretch where you want to feel it. 5 more seconds. And come out of it. Okay, both legs should be feeling a little bit better. Let's take our feet into a nice wide straddle. Sink down to one side. Let's stretch out those adductors. So we're going to stay on one side and just hold. So at the beginning of the workout, we keep it dynamic. Middle of the workout, dynamic. Make sure everything's moving. The end of the workout, we can hold. Make sure this muscle is getting a chance to release. We have about 10, 15 more seconds. If it's too intense, come up out of it, but don't shift sides. Stay on that one side. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, up and over. Side 2. We're going to hold it there. So you could take your elbow and press back on your leg. Think about your hips shifting back and down. No clenching. You shouldn't feel your hips working. You want a hand on the floor for support. Add that hand on the floor. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's come back to center. Swap your feet in just a little bit. Grab onto your elbows and let your head drop. So we're going to start shifting to your right and to your left. Let the tension come out of your back. Let your body weight stretch everything. Take the tension out of your neck. Come back to center. Nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Should feel pretty good in this position because your neck isn't holding your head up. You're getting a nice stretch through this. And then let's go side to side. A little bit more, nice and gentle. And then hands on knees. And roll it up. Take one arm across your chest. So shoulder stretch, make sure the shoulders pull down away from your ear. You also get a little neck stretch if you do that. We're gonna take that elbow, lift it up and reach behind. So that arm is reaching down the middle of your back. The elbow is still out to the side. We're gonna lean in that direction. Good. I think you wanna go the other way. So good. Now let's come up and let's just switch arms. So the other arm is gonna reach down, hold on to the other elbow. And let's go to our left. The other left. There we go. And come up, let's bring that elbow down. We'll finish with the shoulder stretch here. Again, pulling the shoulders down away from your ears and not hunching up. Try to let everything release, let everything go. 5 more seconds. And let's go into an arm swing. And really let it go. You guys did great. Week 2 is in the books. At least workout 1 is anyway. Let's twist. Make sure you got all the tension out of your body. Whole body can move. Let's take a big breath in. Reach it up and let it out. Big breath in and a big exhale. And one more time. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you back here on Thursday. And let me know how it goes.